Hello and welcome to MFS and the Hub. I'm Ross the Boss. I'm here with KC Flat to the Moon, Scheinfeld, and we're live from Los Angeles, California. KC's in Pennsylvania. Not quite sure what city because it's a small little town outside of Philadelphia. KC, am I correct?
No, I live in Harrisburg, which is actually
Harrisburg.
Which is actually the capital of Pennsylvania, but it is one of the smaller cities, that's for sure.
It is, but it's
I'm close to
historic,
Hershey.
KC.
Everybody knows Hershey.
Yeah, very historic Harrisburg. Big part of the Revolutionary War, actually. A lot of history there, Case. I like that. We're talking waiver wire week 11. Geez.
13.
13. Time flies when I'm having fun. Week 13. Wow. It's a quick season. Casey, let's talk about what happened Monday night. The Harbaugh brothers.
Yeah. Justice Hill for the win.
Justice Hill, 50-yard scamper to make the game untouchable for the Chargers. I mean, the Ravens are looking good, Casey.
Yeah.
Fantasy-wise, it wasn't a great night for Lamar Jackson at all. And Henry did not have a touchdown. 140 yards rushing, but no touchdown. Which is good. Which is good and bad.
Is Saquon now the MVP or is it Derrick Henry?
Well, right now, I emailed you bozos today. I texted you and I said, Saquon, he's for sure the number one pick in fantasy football. We all know the MVP is a reward for the quarterback, Casey. It's not a
the last running back was Adrian Peterson, maybe.
I don't know. O.J. Simpson, I don't know. But I mean, it's definitely a quarterback award. I mean, Allen is up there. I think right now it's Allen's award to lose. But I mean, Barkley's having a great season. And again,
and the Giants just released the guy they wanted to keep more than Barkley.
Oh my God, who they released?
Daniel Jones.
Oh, Daniel Jones, right. That was a genius move. But that GM should be fired. I mean, just all the stuff they have, all the footage they have during the negotiation with him, he looks like an idiot. And when he kept Daniel Jones and got rid of Barkley, which is a huge mistake. I mean, all the mistakes the Giants made are just as bad as the Jets. I mean, they're both dumb, stupid. Casey, major injuries. We'll start what happened in Los Angeles. Your boy Dobbins, J.K. Dobbins went down. J.K.
Dobbins, yeah.
And you love to say it. So my number one pickup in waiver wire this week is the guy that you bring up almost every week. Why don't you talk about him?
No, tell me who you think it is.
It's Gus the Bus. How many times show do you say Gus the Bus? Seriously.
But I like to hear other people say it.
Oh, okay.
I think, Gus you got to pick up Vidal also, just in case. I mean,
I like that. Roll Tide. I like that pickup too. But Gus Edwards scored the last touch. He scored with a minute left for the Chargers. They had it was just kind of a last minute thing. But for me, I think Gus Edwards is the number one pickup for the week, just because he's getting a lot. Even if Dobbins is hurt or healthy, doesn't matter. I think Edwards is going to get some handoffs, and they like him at the goal line. So for me, my number one waiver wire pickup is Edwards. Casey, who's your number one waiver wire pickup this week?
Number one? That's a hard one.
Well, the thing is, you gotta, tonight you'll be on the computer, and you gotta pick.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow, I think Jeremy McNichols of the Redskins is up there with both.
I love how you said Redskins. I love it. I love it.
Commanders, crap. McNichols, because of Eckler and Robinson's injury, he's going to be getting a lot there. I also like Dontavian Wicks in Green Bay because for those who watched, Romeo Doubs went out with a concussion on Sunday night, and he's supposed to play before the weekend because I think that the Dolphins and Packers meet on Thanksgiving Day. That's not a lot of time to get back into the game. So I think that could be a fairly high-scoring game. So I like Dontavian Wicks there. Hey, we have a question. Here we go. George C., welcome to the show, George. Seeing rankings all over the place. I'm in a must-win week. Do I play the Chargers or Cowboys defense?
Ooh,
the Chargers are the better unit. Now, the Chargers are a better defense than the Cowboys.
Tell me the matchups. Who are the Chargers playing?
Well, the Chargers play Atlanta.
Yeah.
and then who are coming off a bye week, and the Cowboys go up against the Giants, and Tommy DeVito and his ridiculous play against Tampa Bay. I'm probably wow, that's tough because Atlanta laid eggs. I think their last 2 games, if I remember, they scored like less than 10 points against the Cardinals, and they had an equally bad game before that or after that. And the Chargers are the better defense, but man, how are the Giants going to score? They don't have an offensive line. They don't have a quarterback. They have an okay running back. They have 1 wide receiver. Man, I know Tommy V likes the Chargers, but I'm certainly leaning towards the Cowboys.
I'm leaning towards the Chargers. Defense has proven to me they're a good defense. The Cowboys have not proven to me they're a good defense. I'll take the Chargers. I think Atlanta's going to turn over the ball. I think Cousins will throw interceptions. I think they'll get frustrated. I think it's going to be an ugly game. The Chargers are going to win that game. They're going to get some momentum going again because they lost so badly on Monday night in front of a national audience. Chargers, that's my pick.
Okay. There you go, George.
Casey, so somebody who's coming off a bye week who's hurt the past few weeks, but now he's back, and I feel he's going to be the number 1 receiver eventually in Buffalo, is Keon Coleman. And Keon Coleman is a rookie. I get that. I think University of Florida, I think. Am I right? And Keon
Coleman was Florida State. Originally Michigan State, transferred to Florida State.
Yeah. NIL, I know. But I like this guy. He's available in more than 50% of the leagues right now, and I feel it's a good pickup. And I think this week he's going to be Allen's number 1 receiver. So I think if you want to pick up a receiver this week, Coleman is my guy. I like him a lot, and we have other ones we want to talk about, but he's my number 1 wide receiver to pick up that's under 60%. Casey, who else do you like in the receiving corps?
Well, I already talked about Dontavian Wicks, but I also like Xavier Legette or Legette. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
I think. Yeah.
He's going against Tampa Bay, and Bryce Young has been playing better the last few weeks. Tampa Bay is not a great defense against the pass. I think it could be a script where they have to throw a lot because Tampa Bay puts points on the board. So I think Xavier Legette at home against Tampa Bay is a good play. I also think Devon Vele, the rookie from Denver, who is getting targets. I mean, he's getting 5-6 targets a game.
Yep.
And they're going against Cleveland, which is not a great pass defense. The problem with that is that's the Monday night game. And so if you're counting on Vele, you have to wait and hope that everybody you picked over to get him does not have a big game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, or Sunday. So, but those are guys I would be looking at.
Now, I know we usually wait on tight end, but because, I don't want to give so many picks today because I think it's kind of thin with players available in waiver wire that are exciting and people I would recommend. Noah Gray has scored 4 times in 2 games for Kansas City. I mean, Travis Kelce's old, and he should retire this year. I mean, he's not part of the offense. He's really not. And people that wasted a 2nd-round pick on him, shame on you. I mean, you guys don't deserve to win your league because I told people that he's old and lingering, and he's not going to be the favorite target of Mahomes, and he's not at it. He's really not. And Mahomes tries to include him in the offense, and he drops passes. I mean, he's been dropping a lot of balls. Case, what do you think about Noah Gray as a starting tight end?
Look, tight end, except for the very few, is a touchdown-dependent league, and that guy is getting touchdowns. I also like Zach Ertz, who's been getting a lot of passes lately. He's getting at least 7 targets, I think, in several games.
34 targets in 4 games for Zach Ertz.
Right, and it's still less than 50%. So he's somebody who I think he would have been. It was 7th. He's in 12 weeks. He's been a tight end 1, meaning a top 12 tight end 7 times, and he's still only 48% rostered. So he's a guy I'm looking at. Okay, we have a question, Mr. Magic. I hope you are actually magical. That would be awesome. I've always wanted to have magic. Sitting in 2nd on a 5-game win streak, my season could be in jeopardy now with Purdy and Dobbins injuries. Yeah, those are bad ones. Now those are
bad ones, but hopefully it's a 10-person league. I'm hoping, and I'm hoping there's some quarterbacks on waiver wire. Like
I mean,
maybe
Russell Wilson's
there's a good
only
one.
35% rostered, and they are Cleveland, as you know, is going up this week again. I mean, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Who do I have Pittsburgh going against? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here.
Pittsburgh's playing the Bengals, Casey. Wake
The
up. Come on.
Bengals. Oh, right. Your Bengals. That's why I can't think of it. I mean, that's a pretty good offense to pass against. So you could look at him.
Somebody else
Trevor
I want to
Lawrence
ask you
is coming
about,
back.
Casey, somebody that you were jumping up and down beginning of the season. All you talked about was this guy. And I thought maybe there was a man crush, but I don't know. I haven't confirmed that yet. But Will Levis of Tennessee, he's averaging 20. He's averaging 20 points a game in fantasy. I mean, that's
last few weeks have been better. Yeah.
I mean, he's been playing
Calvin
well.
Ridley's been fantasy relevant.
What's your thing on Will Levis? I'll let you take the floor on Will just because you love the guy and you love how he drinks his coffee.
With mayonnaise. Did you see he's now sponsored by Hellman's?
I saw that,
which I think is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
I do like Will Levis. I don't necessarily. Who's their matchup against? They're going against Washington, so it's a good matchup. Calvin Ridley has been playing well. Westbrook Akine is turning into a decent wide receiver there too. They have two with Tyjae Spears. I'm not sure if Spears is healthy though. Pollard and Spears can both catch balls out of the backfield, so it is a good setup for Will Levis against a team that you can throw on. And so Will Levis is somebody I would consider. As far as running backs, I mean, Roshan Johnson is still out there. He had a touchdown. If you've watched the show, you know I'm a fan of him. Trey Benson is somebody you could stash. But also how about Tank Bigsby?
Frank the Tank Bixby. I like him. I hate Jacksonville, Casey. I just can't. They're so bad. It's just, I don't recommend any players on their team anymore. They're just horrible. I mean, I wish I can say anything better, but it's hard to watch them.
And Amir Abdullah took 90% of the snaps.
How about my boy Amir Abdullah, who is actually
in Vegas? He took 90% of the snaps last week. So
there you go.
So he at least will get the volume. Mr. Magic said he has Stafford as his other quarterback. That's also not a bad play.
The Rams play a team that's who they play, Case.
Matthew Stafford's going against New Orleans.
Yeah.
And by the way, tight ends Taysom Hill, if he's still under 70% or 60%, because I see in some leagues he's still available. How do you not take him with the type
especially against the Rams defense? The Rams defense isn't good, and that's going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah, that's going to be a high-scoring game in New Orleans, and I think Stafford's going to have 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. You're here first from Ross the Boss. Stafford's going to be a big game against New Orleans, and Derek Carr. Let's just be make fun of him. His fantasy numbers, he'll have some big games. He really will. And New Orleans has nothing to lose. I mean, they'll be chucking the ball. They have nothing to lose. They're not going to be in the playoffs. Playoff. Yeah, but I like the Stafford start actually against New Orleans. I think he'll be a top 5 quarterback this week. So Amir Abdullah, do you recommend him, Casey? If I need a running back, do you think he'll do?
Yeah, he's getting the volume.
They're playing Kansas City on Friday. Oh,
at this point, you're looking for volume. So he's going to get the game script could be a little awkward. Is Jaylen Warren serviceable, Mr. Matt? Yeah, he's serviceable. He gets 35% of the carries. He's going against the Bengals. So it could be a high scoring game, which means they'll throw the ball, and Warren is more of the pass catching back. He and Najee Harris are both probably going to get somewhere between 8 and 12 points in the fantasy. So that's certainly serviceable. I don't know how high the ceiling is on him. That's all.
I like Warren this week against the Bengals. He always does. For some reason, every time I see him play against the Bengals, he has a touchdown. I don't know why.
And you can believe that, folks, because Ross has never missed a Bengals game.
But Amir Abdullah, I like as a pickup this week. You mentioned Zach Ertz, Noah Gray, we all like. Russell Wilson, again, he loves the deep ball and he loves throwing the ball to Pickens. So, I mean, for him. I like Russell Wilson. I never thought I would ever say that, but I think he found the right team.
Well, he's got good receivers for that too, in Pickens and Williams.
Now, Adam Thielen, how old is he? 100?
He's got to
This
be.
guy's been in the league. This guy's
I
been in
was
the
at
league
his
for
bar mitzvah.
50 years. Yeah, this guy's been in the league for years. I know he plays on the Panthers, but again, he is starting to get a lot of targets, and he's coming off that hamstring injury. What's your thoughts on Adam? Again, somebody has to catch the ball in Carolina.
Yeah,
Somebody.
I guess. Look, is he in that flex range somewhere, like wide receiver 4 or 5? Sure.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking to put somebody in that spot, yeah, Adam Thielen's going to get you 6 or 7 points, probably, 4 receptions, 40 yards, maybe sneak into the end zone. But I want somebody with a high ceiling, and there's just not a ceiling there. When you can get, like you saw what Jerry Jeudy did in that game for Cleveland, somebody like that who has Xavier Legette, who I talked about, has a higher ceiling than Adam Thielen. I want those guys who are going to give me the win, who are going to give me the upside that you crave. Quentin Johnston for the Chargers is another one like that.
I think he's the biggest bust of the first round last year. He's horrible, Quentin Johnston. He has 1 or 2 good games, but then the rest of the time he's invisible. He's just horrendous. I like Joshua Palmer. I like Daisy. I don't know what his percentage is, but if you need a tight end, I like Daisy for the Chargers. I think he's getting a lot of targets now, and then he's getting the ball and not dropping him like Johnston. He's just horrible. And that lad McConkey guy, I love. I love that kid.
Yeah.
He's definitely the number 1 receiver now in LA for the Chargers. He's playing great. And I never,
Takes
he's
after
a
his
rookie.
dad.
Yeah, his dad was great. His dad was a giant.
The New York Giant, Phil McConkey.
Yep. He had that great mustache. We all loved his mustache. One of the best.
He and Mark Bavaro were my 2 favorite players as a kid.
Wow, Mark Bavaro, a name from the past. Casey Scheinfeld. Casey, you mentioned Take Bisbee, Keon Coleman, all these guys I have on my list. It just depends what you're looking for. Is there anybody else that you are looking at to pick up this week? It's slim pickings, guys. Trust me. That's why I just went through it, and I just want to get to the good ones first. And then, if you guys have any questions on, I think the trade deadline's over, right? We're not trading. I'm not trading anymore.
We're past ours in our league. Most leagues had at the end of last week.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who could you stash? We said Noah Brown in Washington had 10 targets against the Cowboys on Sunday.
He's definitely Daniels' favorite target in Washington,
and
more than Scary Terry.
That counts for something.
I know you don't like Noah Brown. You made fun of him last year when he played for the Cowboys. I have it documented, so let's not pretend. Noah Brown, you were not a fan of last year, but this year he's having a whole different year and he's playing great. Even though Washington, how about all the upsets last week, Casey? Washington losing at home to the Cowboys. Unbelievable. I was like, and the Kansas City almost lost to Carolina. They got lucky. So lucky they won that game.
That was like Bryce Young's best. Is Bryce Young actually becoming a serviceable NFL quarterback?
No, Casey. Bryce Young is somebody that you'll never see him on my roster ever in fantasy sports. He's somebody that he's still a bust. CJ Stroud is the guy, but it's Houston. The Texans lost too. All these big teams.
CJ Stroud's not playing great right now.
No, he's not. I don't know what's going on with him. I think he's hurt. I don't know. Casey, I have no idea what's going on with him. But there's been a lot of upsets, and the week coming up, it's a weird week. We have 3 games. Let's talk about the games real quick, then we'll go. Let's talk about the games that are coming up.
Okay.
We start on Thursday, Casey Scheinfeld. The 28th, we have the Bears are at Detroit. That's at 9:30, 12:30 your time. What's your thoughts fantasy-wise on that? I heard St. Brown is
38-13. Detroit.
St. Brown may not play. He didn't do the run through yesterday, just so you know. He wasn't there.
Well, that changed it a little bit, but okay, then I'll say 31-13.
Gibbs score, Montgomery scores. Who
Gibbs scores at least once. Montgomery scores at least once. Jamison Williams is going to score.
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
Sam Laporta might. Jared Goff will have a decent game.
In Chicago, any fantasy relevance there? Do you think Swift will do
Caleb Williams is going to have to throw the ball a lot, I think, just game script wise. So you could see something there. I do like Keenan Allen a little bit if he's running in the slot and healthy. Rome Odunze, I think, is going to be the one who surprises everybody.
Rookie Rome, I like University of Washington. I like that. New York Giants is the middle game. It starts at 1:30 my time, 4:30 Eastern. The Giants are at the Cowboys. I see the Giants getting just getting murdered.
It's going to be ugly. I think it could be ugly. I think there could be like 11 sacks for
Cooper Rush
Cowboys.
Who would say like in September, okay, guys,
we're circling this one. Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito. Although DeVito's not sure he's playing now because he's sore, I read, but who knows?
Sore. So he has a chance to showcase his skills. He's sore.
I would play. I would throw. I think if you have CeeDee Lamb, you have to play him. I would probably play Rico Dowdle, and I'll play Tyrone Tracy.
Rico Dowdle's another big disappointment this year. Huge, Rico Dowdle.
I'll play Tyrone Tracy too.
Tyrone Tracy is the only legit guy, and of course the rookie Neighbors. He's a keeper too. He's great. The last game is probably the best one because if Miami wins, Casey, I feel they'll be up in the playoff hunt. Miami is at Green Bay. I'm sure it's going to be 0 degrees. I guarantee.
We know how well Tua plays in the cold. Look at Buffalo the last couple years.
Yeah. So Miami, Tyreek Hill, I don't think he's the first round pick next year.
No, I don't think so either. Jalen Waddle outplayed him last week, but
yeah, Waddle's been outplaying him, and Hill broke his wrist. Correct? He's playing with a broken wrist.
That's what he says. Yeah. All right, so we have a question here. Darnold or Stafford for quarterback, or Russell Wilson this weekend?
Stafford. I'm not even explaining it. Stafford.
Okay. Yeah, if I had to rank him, it'd be Stafford, Russ, and Darnold.
And he has Puka, so it's a great stack. Having Puka and Stafford, it's a great stack. So every time Puka will have at least one touchdown. He didn't have one last week. I don't think, and I think he'll have a touchdown.
No, but he still had like 8 and 90 or something.
That guy knows how to get open.
He knows how to
one
catch,
of the best.
Yeah.
He knows separation. He's great. So Casey, Miami, Green Bay, you like Wicks this week, you said. I love Jordan Reed.
Jaden Reed, Wicks. I like Josh Jacobs. I don't trust Miami's defense. He's a beast, so why not? But on Miami, I think you got to play Tua if you have him, especially if it's super flex. Devon Achane is an automatic start. I would probably play Hill and Waddle too if I had him, because I think it's going to be a shootout.
I agree. So let's go now. Let's go to the
tight end, Jonnu Smith.
Now there's one game on Friday. It's at noon my time, 3:00 your time, Case. Raiders are at Kansas City.
Bloodbath.
You can't think of a horrible game, but
I actually don't think there's going to be a lot of fantasy relevance. I think if Isaiah Pacheco is healthy, I'm playing him. Otherwise, it's Kareem Hunt. I think
spreads 12, and your boy Minshew's out for the year. He went under the table this week. He was operated on. He got hit pretty hard on Sunday. He's done for the year. So we're down to O'Donnell is the starting quarterback in Las Vegas now. And then Casey, December 1st is this Sunday. December 1st, Casey Shampold.
No,
last month of the year, and Casey's excited because New Year's Eve is Casey's middle name. I'll just mention the fantasy relevance games and we'll get out of here. Okay. We talked about Houston and Jacksonville.
You're running Nico Collins out there. You're running Tank Dell. You're obviously running Joe Mixon out there. CJ Stroud's been terrible. But if it's a super flex, he's an absolute start. Single quarterback league, it depends who you have.
Chargers, Falcons. I mean, can we talk about the running back for the Falcons? I mean, the Falcons that everybody picked like in the top 5 picks.
Bijan Robinson.
I mean, he's not a first round pick next year either. I mean, you're not taking
he still might be.
Ooh, insane. Chargers.
I mean, he's the 6th ranked running back on the season.
I mean, if Gus Edwards is the only healthy back next week, he might be RB2. I'm just looking at relevant fantasy games. They're really horrible games. Arizona, Minnesota. Titans are at Washington. I mean, these are all like, I guess Arizona, Minnesota is a pretty good game, like on paper. Both Arizona's in first place. I mean, you got to start Connor. I guess Murray's a start. Minnesota's defense is
Trey McBride is a start. Trey McBride's awesome.
A start. Harrison Jr. I guess is a start, even though he's not consistent in my book.
Minnesota, you got Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got.
Okay, let's go back to let's talk about Jefferson. Jefferson has been invisible the past 2
Jefferson's been getting triple covered. That's why Addison went for like 140 and a touchdown.
If you have Addison, you start him. You start.
I think you do after last week. You're chasing points, but still.
The week before he had a touchdown case. I mean, the guy's been on a tear.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh would be a points fest. The over-under is 46.5 right now. It's going to go up to 47, 48.
Just depends on the weather. That's a weather-dependent thing.
It's in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's going to have a big game. He loves playing against Pittsburgh. It's going to be good. The Jets, Seahawks, Gone Fest. Saints-Rams will be a high-scoring game. That's already at 48.5 as a high. You can just tell fantasy-wise it's going to be a good fantasy game. You start all the regulars, Puka, Williams. I like Stafford, too. For the Saints,
Philadelphia, Baltimore is a good game.
I haven't got there yet. The 105 games, Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Well, you're going to run out Tampa Bay.
Is Baker playing? Is he hurt?
No, I don't think he's hurt. He's still supposed to be playing.
I like Baker as a start. Eagles, Ravens, like you said. Betting-wise, I like the Eagles over the Ravens on Sunday. I think that 3 points will come in handy.
It's at Baltimore. That always worries me, but.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are going to win that game, Casey. I think Barkley's going to go nuts. It's Barkley against Henry. You'll see 2 great running backs battling back and forth.
Yep.
And the Sunday night game, it would have been great like last year, but this year it's not going to be that good of a game. It's the 49ers and Bills.
I know the Bills could race over them at this point.
And it's in Buffalo. It's going to be 0 degrees there. And you just got to start all the usual suspects in that game. I mean, McCaffrey.
Yeah, you have to start them if you have them. You have to
start. I have a question for you. And this has to do with fantasy sports. A lot of people dropped Mason because McCaffrey's back. Do you think if they were out of the playoffs, let's say by week 15 or 16, they're mathematically eliminated. Do they bench McCaffrey and just play
I don't
Mason?
think so, because he's already missed 10 games or 9 games, whatever it was. So they're not worried about too many touches. But I would pick up Mason just in case.
Okay.
If I had room to stash.
I'm just saying, if you're in the playoff team and those weeks are important to you, and there's a rumor about McCaffrey maybe not playing the rest of the season because the 49ers are done, I don't think it's a bad idea. And then Casey, Monday night, December 2nd, Cleveland. They're on national TV again. I thought they were just on. Cleveland is at Denver. You mentioned this before. Thoughts on Bo Nix going against Cleveland's defense in Denver on Monday?
Bo Nix is earning the trust to be a starter going until you prove him wrong. Cleveland's not that scary of a defense. He's got good receivers, and Cortland Sutton, who's playing well, and Vele, who we already talked about. Yeah, I like Bo Nix. I think if you had I think he has maybe moved past Jaden Reed, even Jaden Daniels as the rookie of the year at this point.
So many
Washington
Jadens.
loses another.
It's like so many. I think there was like the run on the name Jaden. I mean,
It must have been
if
very
I
popular
every time I turn a college basketball
about
game on, it's like
21 years ago, 23 years ago. Yeah, in that range. So
it's always the kid's always name's Jaden. I mean, it's like every kid playing sports, Jaden. You know, well, I like the name, but it's just a lot. It's a lot of Jadens running around. Casey, happy Thanksgiving.
hey,
Thanks
yeah, we won't
for
be here Thursday. We'll be watching football with you guys and taking a nap.
yeah, we'll be watching the Giants Dallas game, falling asleep, not because we're tired from turkey. Just
I'll be
because
sleeping from out of avoidance of having to watch it.
no, I'll be texting you. Don't worry.
Oh,
Okay,
I know
guys. So
you
we'll
will.
see you guys next Tuesday. We'll pick more waiver wire because again, playoffs start soon in fantasy football, so you got to use that waiver wire. And we're going to see more injuries, so you're going to definitely have to use that waiver wire. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching. I'm Ross the Boss. That's Casey Vlad of the Moonshine Fold.